Good morning. Please stand and join us in singing My Soul is Welcome Here, our gathering song.
Good morning. Welcome to Unity of Stuart. I want to thank Kimberly for jumping in this morning as a greeter. We only had one greeter this morning. Thank you, Ricky, and thank you, Kimberly, for jumping in. Welcome to our Sunday morning celebration service, and welcome to all who are watching on YouTube and Facebook. And let's see who's watching this morning. We have Hope and Sylvie, and I saw Albert a little while ago, and we have, hey, Diane. Diane's part of our choir. She's saying good morning from Pennsylvania, and Jill is watching as well, also a member of our choir, and of course, as always, Jen is bilocating. And we have Lisa from Albuquerque. Hey, Lisa, how's it going? Good to see you on here. And to everybody who is on YouTube as well, who is generally Alana and Jessica and Phil and Pam and Ellen and Ann. So welcome, welcome. We're glad you're joining us today. As always, we have with us the Joyful Noise Band and Choir. And our special music, we have a special treat today, is going to be, we're going to be blessed by the Joyful Noise Choir this morning. Yes, that's why you see these microphones behind me this morning. And we want to welcome first-timers who are in the sanctuary this morning. If you are a first-timer in the sanctuary and you feel comfortable in doing so, please raise your hand so Ricky can see you and give you a, Mary has got her hand up in the air high, and Julie back there, and her companion, who I forgot your name already, and you've been here before. Georgianne is here for the first time. Oh, okay, I just kind of nudged Tori to raise his hand over here, Ricky, and Ray, did you raise your hand? You're not first timer, okay. All right, anybody, if you're here for the first time and haven't raised your hand, you can get a welcome packet on the way out. And for anybody else who would like a welcome packet, whether you're here for the first time or the 101st time, you can also get a welcome packet if you'd like to hand it out to someone else. Do a little evangelizing on behalf of Unity of Stuart. Feel free to do that. In that welcome packet is information about our Unity of Stuart movement, a bit of information about our larger movement. There is a prayer intention / request form. If you take that, fill it out, and put it in our prayer box in the lobby, our prayer chaplains will pray over that prayer request form here, and we also send it off to our Silent Unity Prayer Ministry back at Kansas City, which I affectionately refer to as the mothership, and they pray over it there in our Silent Unity Prayer Chapel there for another 30 days. There's also a form in that welcome packet if you take it and fill it out. and bring it back to the podium. It will put you on our email newsletter list. And also, I just started a blog, which is essentially a little bit of personal information and a recap of the Sunday message, especially for those who weren't here or wanted just a little bit of a condensed Reader's Digest version. If you're as old as me, you'll know what that is. And during the week. Oh, if you bring that form back to the podium, you'll get a gift. So we invite you to do that. If you're online and you would like a welcome packet, please email admin@unityofstuart.org with the request and, of course, your name and address, and we will be happy to send you a welcome packet. We have some goodies in the kitchen, a little bit of cookies, a little bit of a cake, and some coffee, so we invite you to join us for some of that after the service. If you would like to help out in hospitality, we don't really have anyone doing hospitality at this point. It's really pretty simple. We get an Instacart order every month with some cookies and a little Danish or something, and so we just ask you to put that out on some plates and to make some coffee, and then to clean that up at the end of the service. There's slots out there on the info table for 2 people per Sunday, and it's always nice to work in a team. And if you'd like to help with that, we invite you to do that. First Sunday is Hospitality Sunday, and that has been taken. Thank you, Nancy and Lana. And so they will be in the kitchen on the first Sunday of every month, and thank you for that. We have prayer chaplains, as always, on duty, and today we have Pat Miller and Sue Michaud for our prayer chaplains. And what that means is that if you have something that you'd like some prayer support for after service, Pat and Sue will be here to pray with you. And it's a 2 or 3 minute prayer. You tell them what your prayer intention or request is, and they pray with you. And then they will put your prayer, if you like, into the prayer box, or you can do that for yourself. And they are honored to pray with you, and they will hold your prayer in the highest confidence. Online, and of course anybody else here, if you'd like to send an email, you can do that at those email addresses, and alternatively, and as well as, you can call the Silent Unity Prayer Line, and they will pray with you as well. Speaking of prayer, if you would like, you don't have to be a member for this, if you would like a wellness call, a monthly wellness call from one of our prayer chaplains, please sign up at the information table or email our prayer chaplain coordinator, Amy Neff, at that email address right there. And what that looks like, they'll call you, and they'll ask you if you have a prayer request, and then they will pray with you about that prayer. What many people do, I have heard, is they let it go to voicemail, and then they will just leave you a general prayer. And people prefer that because they get a little nervous talking to someone on the phone. So you can feel free to do that as well. As always, we have Tuesday meditation with our own Cheryl Roby. Did I say good morning to you, Cheryl? I saw you online. Good morning. And Cheryl goes live every Tuesday morning on Facebook with a meditation. So we invite you to tune in to that or to watch it after it goes live. Coming up on August 25th is our Connected Souls Coffee House concert. And as you can see up there, it says great music, great company, sweet treats, and optional dancing in the aisles. Treats are at 6:30 in our kitchen, and music starts at 7 p.m. And as I always do, Doreen, do you have anything to say about the coffee house?
Come one, come all. Bring your friends.
All right, bring your friends. It's a great night out, especially in this heat when you don't want to do anything outside at night. And if you would like to be out with some like-minded people and enjoy some wonderful music, come enjoy it. Join us on the 25th. Right directly after the service, do not, if you're a voting member, that is, do not pass go. Do not go into the kitchen. Just stay in here. We're going to have a quick vote on a bylaws change. And for those of you who haven't heard about this yet, if you're not a voting member, is our bylaws are outdated. We're not up to date with our I don't want to say corporate, our mothership's bylaws. We have a board member who is married to someone that we want to hire for our admin. And our outdated bylaws say that that you cannot hire, that if we hire someone who is the spouse or a family member of someone on our board, that person has to come off the board. The updated bylaws say that we can hire someone and that person can stay on the board, but they can have no opinion or say in anything related to that person's hiring or pay or whatever. So that's what we're asking the voting members to vote on today, to replace the outdated bylaw with the updated bylaw. So if you are a voting member, please stay after service, and you will check in with Nancy Bach after the service, and it'll be a quick vote. If you were here for the roof vote, to replace our roof, it'll be just like that. It'll be 10 minutes. So please stay so that we can have our quorum and get this done really quickly. And so we can bring Eva Taylor on board, whose wife is Hildy Loraldi. So everybody can stay. We can hire Eva, and Hildy can stay as a valued member of the board. Okay. Breathing for me, thank you. As we move from business, which is always sacred in a church, but moving into the beginning of this, the churchy part of the service. The spiritual part, if you will. And so we are using the book Essential Spirituality this time. And this book, Roger Walsh uses practices from world religions to cultivate kindness, love, joy, peace, vision, wisdom, and generosity. And in the book, he talks about how in Tibetan Buddhism, each major activity, whether it be meditation, eating, cleaning, starts and ends with a dedication. And you know that we do that every week. We start each service with a dedication. And so he gives an example. A practitioner, he says, will repeat words such as, I dedicate this practice to my awakening in order that I may serve and awaken all beings. And at the end of the meditation, the practitioner will close by dedicating the benefits to others with words such as, I offer the benefits of this practice to the welfare and awakening of all beings. He says these dedications take less than a minute, yet can profoundly deepen the motivation and experience of any activity. So, I invite you to join me today and each week in this series in dedicating this service to our awakening so that we may serve and awaken all beings. I equip myself with powerful tools for creating the life of my dreams. Through meditation, prayer, visualization, and affirmation, I am willing to work for what I want in my life and the lives of those I care about. Sometimes I can be so focused on what I am doing that I forget the importance of stepping back from my efforts and releasing my attachment to specific outcomes. I recenter my awareness on my divinity as perfect peace and clarity arise within me. I remember the divine is in all people and circumstances as a resource for the greater good of all. I release any attachment to specific outcomes and lean on my divinity to discern what to think, feel, say, and do, resulting in better outcomes for all. I discern what is mine to do and release the rest. So let's take a deep breath together and settle into this now moment as we open our hearts and minds, as we are open, receptive, and responsive to what Spirit would have us be and do. We discern what is ours to do, and we release the rest. And so it is. Amen. And let's affirm that together. I discern what is mine to do and release the rest. And let's take that deep breath as we affirm one more time together. I discern what is mine to do and release the rest. And so it is. Amen. And let us get ready for prayerful meditation as we sing, Be Still.
Be still, be quiet. It's the only way. You will hear the voice of God. It's the only way. Be at peace, love one another. There is no other way. You will feel the presence of the one. It's the only way. It's the only way.
And we breathe deeply as you are able. And I invite you into 3 deep breaths. Settling in, relaxing as fully as you are able, dropping your shoulders, unclenching, releasing any tension in your body. You might want to wiggle your toes. Settling in, dropping any baggage that you've come in with, and setting the intention to be here now. And this morning, I'm going to share a meditation from the book we're studying, Essential Spirituality. Roger Wall says, usually we are so preoccupied by the events of the day that we lose sight of the big picture. The great religions repeatedly urge us to look at our lives and the issues we face from a larger perspective. The traditions encourage us to keep our whole lives and inevitable deaths in mind when making major choices. Buddhism and Hinduism speak of countless lifetimes, while Christianity urges us to view our lives under the aspect of eternity. This exercise offers a taste of such a perception. And so once again, we breathe deeply and slowly, allowing ourselves to relax more and more deeply with each breath. Notice an interesting thing about breathing. There is no effort required to breathe out. You breathe in and then simply let go. As you do, the air falls out by itself, and the muscles around the chest and shoulders relax automatically. Allow that sense of relaxation to deepen and spread through the body with each breath. Let it flow up into the neck, out into the arms, and down through the abdomen and into the legs. noticing any areas of muscle tightness. See if you can relax them. Continue to breathe slowly and deeply throughout the exercise. And begin by thinking of a long time. Perhaps a period of many years. Then think of a longer time. Then think of a still longer time. When you are ready, double the time. Then double it again. Then think of eternity. From this all-encompassing eternal perspective, look back at your life and ponder the following questions. You do not need to analyze or try to figure out answers. Rather, simply allow the intuitive wisdom within you to bring answers into awareness. What is really important in your life? What really matters? What would you be better off doing more of? What would you be better off doing less of? I'll say those one more time. What is really important in your life? What really matters? What would you be better off doing more of? What would you be better off doing less of? Then take a moment to see if there is any other vital information this eternal perspective can offer you. When you feel complete, open your eyes and bring your attention back to your environment. And if you think it's helpful, I invite you to pick up a postcard that you hopefully were given today. And you might want to write down your insights and then take a few minutes to reflect. And as you reflect on your life, think of the advice from the 18th century Jewish sage, Rabbi Nachman, who was famous for his wisdom and teaching stories. Consider what you are doing and ponder whether it is worthy that you devote your life to it. In the quiet. And as we have co-created this sacred space of contemplation, of thinking about our lives, of contemplating where we put our attention, I invite you to bring your awareness to all that are on our prayer list here at Unity of Stuart and everyone who was in our hearts and minds this morning. And seeing each one lifted up in wholeness, in contemplation, in an awareness of the activity of Spirit that is moving through each and every one, whether they are aware of it or not. Spirit moves, lives, and has its being in each one of us. And so I invite you to see that Spirit, that Holy Spirit moving in and through you and each one that is in your heart and mind and each one that is on our prayer list here at Unity. And you may wish to speak out names or situations. And as I was reminded this morning in our prayer circle, Lahaina in Maui and all of those who have lost everything. And turning these prayers over, these beings over into the care and keeping, I invite you to join me in dedicating these prayers to the benefit of all humankind. And so it is. Amen. And let's sing about our oneness.
We are one in the Spirit. We are one in our love. We are one in the Spirit. We are one in our love. And we know that our unity will this day rise above. And we'll know we're one family by our love, by our love. Yes, we'll know we're one family by our love. We will walk with each other. We will walk hand in hand. We will walk with each other. We will walk hand in hand. And together we'll spread the news that God is in our land. And we'll know we're one family by our love, by our love. Yes, we'll know we're one family by our love. Yes, we'll know we're one family by our love. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. beautiful life. My beautiful, beautiful, beautiful life. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. Thank you for this church, Spirit. Thank you for this church. Thank you for this church, Spirit. Thank you for this church. This uplifting, uplifting, uplifting church. This uplifting, uplifting, uplifting church. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you. We say thank you. Thank you. We say thank you. Thank you. We say thank you. Thank you. We say thank you.
Thank you, joyful noise, thank you. All right, that was fun for me. All right. Thank you for this day, right? No matter what is going on in our day, we can be grateful, right, that we're sitting here, right? That we got ourselves out of bed this morning and to spiritual community this morning, and no matter what is going on, there's something always to be grateful for. Even though hair is in my face, I am grateful to have hair. All right. So once again, this is the book, Essential Spirituality. I'm going to tell him myself. I swore I wasn't going to tell him myself. But here we go. So I planned my lessons. Sometimes if I'm doing a lesson, it is sometimes a couple of weeks before. Sometimes, our admin will say to me, May, she'll say to me, I need your lesson titles. I'm getting the bulletin ready for next month. Sometimes Doreen will say to me, or Don will say, I need the lesson titles. We have to start planning music because I like the music to flow with the lesson, right? And so a few months ago, I planned, this series based on this book. I said, this will be good. I like this book. I've read it a couple of times. Well, an interfaith perspective. So as I'm planning the lessons, I'm thinking, this really sounds familiar. I said, yeah, I've read the book a few times. And then I was looking for a particular story, and I realized I did this series 2 years ago. I did the series on this book 2 years ago. And I hadn't found them before, and I was looking for the story. I found a whole series I did 2 years ago that I totally forgot about. So I'm not doing the same lessons because I've written 3 of the lessons already, or at least had drafts of 3 of the lessons. But there you have it. I told them myself. Ministers don't, I've rewritten some lessons that I did 10 years ago or, 15 years ago, but never one that I've done 2 years ago. So there, I've told them myself. I couldn't stand it. So anyway, today we're doing Transforming Your Motivation. And this is actually, when I did this lesson 2 years ago, I kind of crammed it into the introduction. This year, I did an introduction just on its own. So this is a whole lesson on transforming your motivation. All right, now I can do it. So let me just tell you what's happening next week. We're going to be looking at cultivating emotional and spiritual wisdom and maturity, which will be about healing our hearts and learning to love. And I tell you that at the start because today we're going to look first, before we get to that healing, we're going to look first in what gets in the way of that healing. What gets in the way of cultivating emotional wisdom and spiritual intelligence. We're going to look at examining our attachments. What the Buddhist friends will say, what we're grasping and what we're pushing away. So we're looking at transforming our motivation by reducing our cravings and finding our soul's desire. So there's a 20th century Hindu sage. He died in 1981. Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj. And he says this: all you want is to be happy. All your desires, whatever they may be, are of longing for happiness. Basically, you wish yourselves well. Desire by itself is not wrong. It is life itself, the urge to grow in knowledge and experience. It is the choices that you make that are wrong. To imagine that some little thing, food, sex, power, fame, will make you happy is to deceive yourself. Only something as vast and deep as your real self can make you truly and lastingly happy. I'm going to need this in a moment. So everyone wants to be happy, right? Nobody would dispute that. Nobody wants to be miserable. We all want to be happy. And even as we all want to be happy, many of us have a mistaken idea about what brings that happiness. We all have a mistaken, maybe not all, but many of us have a mistaken idea. And when we have that idea of what will make us happy, we can get very, very attached to that thing or that experience that we think will bring us happiness. Amen? Right. So maybe it's recognition, maybe it's money, maybe it's a person or possessions. They become what we think we need to be happy. And those things become our motivation. From the book. What leads to true happiness, Walsh says. A glance at our possessions and priorities, our society and media, makes it very apparent what most people believe will bring true happiness. Things, and lots of them. Each billboard and neon sign, every radio and television wails forth a siren song suggesting that if we just buy this, own that, taste this, then real contentment will finally be ours. Our culture is fixated on the physical foursome of money, sensuality, power, and prestige. We are lost in the seductive illusion that if we can somehow just get enough of them, we will finally be fully and forever happy. So this book was written in 1999. And dare I say that that was before the explosion of social media, right? Before the explosion of Instagram and TikTok and Snapchat. And what else is out there? Blue and what else? Instagram, right? I mean, even Facebook, but not Facebook as much. So that the young people today are growing up with this, like, just heaped upon them, the lives that you see on Instagram, these happy, shiny lives, these happy, shiny homes. It's even more so than what we of a certain age grew up with, right? Of keeping up with the Joneses or wanting to have this perfect, shiny life. So we grow up thinking, and more so for the younger people today, grow up thinking that if we can just be like that, if we get enough of the physical foursome of money, sensuality, power, prestige, beauty for young women and men as well, I imagine, that we will be happy. When we hear the bell, we breathe. By contrast, the great religions are downright heretical. They practically scream in horror, Roger Walsh says, at such ideas, which they regard as absolute nonsense. Certainly, he says, we need enough money to live on, and the physical foursome can indeed be pleasant. But to believe that one of them or all of them can produce profound, enduring happiness, let alone bliss, is a delusion. Think of some of the richest people that are in the news all the time. Do you think those people live in bliss? It doesn't look like it, right? Of course, we can't really know, but a lot of times it doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like it. Century after century and sage after sage, all the great religious traditions have begged us to recognize a crucial fact. No outside sensation or possession can ever give us full or lasting satisfaction. And of course, and I've said this, I think I said this last week and maybe even the week before, seek first the kingdom, we teach, and all will be added to you. Seek first the kingdom. Seek first that kingdom of God consciousness. Seek first the kingdom of the Buddha nature. Seek first the kingdom of whatever you call the divine spirit or universal mind. Seek first that, and then we will receive that deep peace, that deep compassion, that deep wholeness that we seek. Amen? Seek that first, that deep inner knowing of who we are at depth. So, transforming our motivation. And I want to share with you a practice. I want to share with you the 4 aims of life as defined in Hinduism. Now's the time for that slide. So, the first one is artha, which is acquiring the material possessions we need to be comfortable. That's a good one, right? Acquiring material possessions that we need to be comfortable. Second one is kama, our desire for sensual pleasures and love. Wonderful. Dharma, the broad range of moral and religious duties. And finally, the 4 aim, well, these first 3 are regarded as appropriate and pleasurable and can be pursued fully as long as the 4th aim is also honored and pursued, and you can guess what's coming. Moksha provides a context, meaning, and balance to the first 3, which is enlightenment or liberation. And it's the ultimate goal. It's the ultimate good of a human life. In other words, we don't pursue the first 3, artha, kama, and dharma, without the moksha, without that foundation of our divinity, of our connection with spirit. As we sing, one in spirit. We are one in the spirit, we are one in the love. That means not just with that which we call God, but with each other. We are one together in the spirit. It's that focus on moksha, our Hindu siblings tell us, that help us to avoid attachment and craving. And of course, the Buddha taught a similar philosophy, summarized in the 4 noble truths. Life is full of difficulties and suffering. The cause of suffering is attachment. Freedom from attachment and suffering can come from practicing the Eightfold Path, which I'm not going to get into. But the Eightfold Path centers on ethics, wisdom, and meditation. So Walsh observes that the amount of suffering in our lives reflects the gap between what we crave and what we have. Right? Think about that for a moment. Suffering reflects the gap between what we have and what we want. That's where we suffer. Craving creates suffering by producing emotional anguish and by being insatiable. Reminds me of you ever have a toddler or, I have like one toddler in my life right now. But have you ever seen a toddler at Christmas time or at their birthday? When they get like a whole mess of presents and they'll open one and they'll go, oh, where's the next one? Or, oh, I got this. Oh, yay. Where's the next one? Right? That craving, it's insatiable of just wanting more, right? And how many of us kind of do that in our adult lives? So, how does the end of attachment lead to the end of sorrow and suffering? Remembering that unhappiness reflects the difference between what we crave and what we have. So if we give up our attachments by accepting, and dare I say being grateful for what we have, the gap dissolves, and so does our unhappiness. When we accept what we have, be grateful for what we have, see the blessing in what we have, that gap dissolves. Gandhi said, when asked to describe his philosophy of life, needed only 3 words: renounce and rejoice. Renounce and rejoice. Here's the next slide, Sophia. I love this. This is written, I don't know when. Ali ibn Ali Talib. Detachment is not that you should own nothing, but that nothing should own you. Don't you love that? Not that you should own nothing, but that nothing should own you. That the possessions that we have in our lives shouldn't own us. We have them, but they don't have us. That we could just open our hands and release it. I remember when, many years ago, in my prior Unity community, I had a congregant who had, this is what happens when something comes to me on the platform, and I can't remember the name of something. It was the goddess statue, a Buddhist goddess statue, goddess of compassion. Does anybody know who that is? Tara. So she had a goddess, she had a Tara statue, and I loved it. I was about compassion, still am, about compassion. And the congregant, her name was Aisha, and we were at a women's retreat, and she brought this goddess statue as her offering to the altar. And I said, "Oh, Aisha, I love that goddess." And she said, "Here." I'm getting chills again. And she just handed it to me, and I said, "Oh my God, you're just handing me?" She said, "Yes, it's yours." She owned that statue, but it didn't own her. And I have been reminded about that over the years, about how easy it was for her to just give that beautiful statue of compassion to me. So, it's not that you should own nothing, it's that nothing should own you. So, let's get practical. What are you attached to? What is the cause of your suffering? It doesn't have to be a physical thing, right? What causes your suffering? And not for nothing, but we can actually be attached to our suffering. Have you ever been aware that you've been attached to your suffering? Right? When somebody talks about something going on in their body or an illness that they have, you say, "Well, wait, I have this, I have that, I have the other thing." Right? It's almost like it's a competition, right? So we could get attached to our suffering. Oh, you have somebody that died? Oh, I have 5 people that died. Right? We think of it as a competition. We get attached to our suffering, and we allow it to define us. So, what stories, what beliefs do we hold on to, recognizing or not recognizing that they cause us pain? Even in our country, the beliefs that we hold on to. So, here's the other thing. When you think about non-attachment, being not attached doesn't mean that we don't care. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't do something about a situation, or we shouldn't do something about injustice in our lives and in the world. This is where we learn to distinguish between desire and attachment, and why the translation and the definition is so important. Some of you know that I was educated and ordained, before I was educated and ordained a Unity minister, I was educated and ordained an interfaith minister in a seminary in New York City. And when I first heard the concept in our Buddhist session, when I heard about non-attachment, I was going, oh, I don't like this. I don't like this at all. I thought hold on a minute here. If I'm not attached to anything, I won't have passion for anything. I won't care about anything. I won't want anything. What? Am I going to sit on a cushion all day oming, for crying out loud? Okay, just let it go. Okay, world's on fire, just let it go. No, I don't want to be that way. And if you've been around me for a minute, you've noticed that I do care about things, right? I realize that as I've matured in spiritual practice, I can have a desire without being attached to the outcome. Sometimes. I'm not there yet in the total being not attached to outcome. There are some things I do get very wrapped up in, if you've been around me for a minute. So, Walsh says, this kind of belief that you cannot be non-attached without caring. This kind of belief comes from confusing desires with attachments. Desires are a necessary and natural part of life. Attachments are an unnecessary source of suffering. Since they are different, desires remain when attachments are relinquished. So we are still motivated to live our lives fully and well. In fact, we are better able to do so since we are no longer helpless puppets dancing on the strings of compulsive cravings that distort our priorities and lives. Relinquishing attachments leaves us not apathetic, but calm, not joyless, but content, not indifferent to others, but more concerned and caring. According to Patanjali, who wrote the classic text on yoga 2,000 years ago, Walsh writes, when we are established in non-attachment, the nature and purpose of existence is understood. I mean, look at all the sages and saints of the world, right? Who do we think of? Mother Teresa, Gandhi, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. They may be free of attachments, but they devote their lives to the welfare of people and even all creatures. Think about, who's the woman that works with gorillas? Jane Woodall. Think of people like that who just devote their lives to the benefit of nature or the benefit of humankind, right? We can have a desire without being attached to the outcome. And it's important to be willing to investigate our motivation behind every desire. Why do I want this? Why do I want this? So there's a story in the book, and I want to share that with you. For several weeks, strange sounds had drifted over the mountains from the neighboring valley. There was much talk in the village about what these noises could be, but no one could make sense of them. Even the village elders had never heard anything like them. Finally, one of the young men of the village was chosen to cross the mountains and see what was going on. After 2 days of hiking, he reached the mountaintop and saw in the valley far below him a hive of activity with dozens of people working. As he drew closer, he saw a line of people, each with a huge stone in front of them that they were hammering and chiseling. When he finally reached the valley floor, he approached a young man at one end of the line and asked, "What are you doing?" "Huh," grunted the young man. "I'm killing time until I get off from work." "Huh." Puzzled, the hiker turned to the young person in line, the second person in the line, a young woman, and asked, "Excuse me, but what are you doing?" "I'm earning a living to support my family," she responded. Scratching his head, the hiker moved on to the third person and asked again, "What are you doing?" "I'm creating a beautiful statue," came the reply. Turning to the next person, the hiker repeated his question. "I'm helping to build a cathedral," came the answer. "Ah," said the hiker, "I think I'm beginning to understand." Approaching the woman who was next in line, he asked, "And what are you doing?" "I'm helping the people in this town and the generations that follow them by helping to build this cathedral." "Wonderful," exclaimed the hiker. And you, sir?" he called to the man beside her. "I'm helping to build this cathedral in order to serve all those who use it and to awaken myself in the process. I am seeking my salvation through service to others. Finally, the hiker turned to the last stone worker, an old, lively person whose eyes twinkled and whose mouth formed a perpetual smile. "And what are you doing?" he inquired. "Me?" smiled the elder. "Doing?" The elder roared with laughter. "This ego dissolved into God many years ago. There is no I left to do. God works through this body to help and awaken all people and to draw them to him." We are called to investigate our motivations. So this week, I invite us to look at our attachments, our cravings, and to take a moment before any activity to think about why we're doing that, to think about it. Every time I sat at my computer this week to craft this lesson, I dedicated to the highest good of all who hear it. So choose an activity and dedicate it. Choose an activity that you do regularly and dedicate it. It could be anything from meditation to housework to feeding your animals, which I do every morning for animals. It could be exercising. I do it at night too. Exercising, spending time with family and friends, whatever it is. If it's art, if it's music, every single time, think about something simple that you could dedicate it to. It might be something like, I dedicate this work, whatever it is, to the wholeness of myself and of all of humanity. And as you do, you will become an agent of transformation for not only yourself, but for the entirety of humanity. I claim this truth for each and every one of us. Namaste. All right, and as we're getting ready for our celebration of abundance, here are ways that you can donate and keep this work alive on the Treasure Coast and in Martin County and in St. Lucie County and in all the surrounding areas. And thank you. Thank you for all your continued love offerings, tithes, and gifts. Thank you to our consistent givers. I hope you feel the impact that you have right here and right now as you participate in our love offering. And we bless the offering as it happens, knowing that your gifts help transform the world. So let us affirm our prosperity prayer and then our love offering blessing together. In a universe overflowing with the allness of God, all of the needs of unity of Stuart and those we serve are instantly, constantly, and bountifully met. From every direction, known and unknown, expected and unexpected, our abundant good comes to us now. We are grateful. Amen. And our love offering blessing together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I give and receive always in love. Let's sing about it.
One.
Situation
Heather. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we are still banging the drum for the bed races, which is on October 14th. We had our first meeting last week, and you can still sign up. You'll be informed of the next meeting. I'm not showing the video today because I wanted to tell you about some things that, Family Promise is doing to support folks without a home, without a permanent home. They're working on permanent affordable housing with the Housing Solution Council. They are helping families with funds to cover move-in costs or eviction prevention costs. They continue to run the Interface Hospitality Network Shelter Program, getting people, helping people with long-term stability. They are, I want to tell you one more thing here. We are a supporting ministry to Family Promise. So we help with food, as you hear us talk about every now and then, providing food for families. Other churches in our area house people for a week or two. 2 weeks in their churches. We don't have those kinds of facilities here, but other churches do. And so sometimes we provide food to those families. So they're doing a lot in our county to help families without homes. And this is absolutely families without homes, people with children. So this whole thing that I have in my hand, it's a few pages, is all on the bulletin board in the kitchen. So I invite you to take a look so you absolutely know what Family Promise is doing in our area. And please sign up to help us with the bed races. We'll also need some donations, some donation money to get that going. I think a couple of weeks ago, I was under the mistaken impression that it was $1,000 to get into the bed race. It is not. It is how much? $150 to get into this. That makes it a lot easier, doesn't it? And, it would also be good to just donate anyway. But please sign up and you'll be notified of the next meeting for the annual bed races. I talked about hospitality already, so this is a reminder. If you'd like to help, one Sunday a month, please sign up at the information table. I am doing a workshop on September 3rd, a 2-hour workshop for how to create a life of prayer. And we'll talk about the history of prayer of the Unity Movement. We'll talk about how Unity teaches prayer and how I personally pray. And you'll come away with an affirmation or two for your own self, and maybe a short prayer, if you would like, that you write for yourself. So that, please sign up, because there, of course, will be materials to be handed out. And that's on September 3rd after service, 12:30. It's also a potluck Sunday, so you can stick around for a bite to eat and then come into the workshop. Ross, we have some kids out there? All right, let's stand as we sing our kiddos in.
We are walking in the light, in the light, in the light. We are walking in the light of God. We are walking in the light, in the light, in the light. We are walking in the light of God. We are walking in the light, in the light, in the light. We are walking in the light of God. We are walking in the light, in the light, in the light. We are walking in the light, in the light of God. In the light of God.
And please be seated. So I think that this red carpet must be hot lava, because I can never get the kiddos to come and stand next to me on the red carpet. Nova, could you please come stand? It's not hot lava, I promise. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Come on, older. Okay, all right. How's it going? What you got there? What are they called? Fortune tellers. All right. Does anybody want to tell me why you made those? Okay, say your name.
Beatrice. Hello.
Now say
my
your
name
name
is
so everybody
Beatrice.
can hear it.
Hello, my name is Beatrice.
Okay, Beatrice.
So we made these because I need to think.
Okay, we'll give you some time to think.
Oh, from affirmations.
Affirmations, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, can I do one?
Yeah, sure.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay.
Happy
Pick one.
Pick a happy face? I picked the happy face. No, I'm going to pick the ice cream cone. My mother didn't raise no fool. Someone owes you ice cream. Not one person is raising their hand. Thank you, Nova. All right. Thank you. All right. So what was that all about, Mama?
This was about how we did a debriefing of our start to school, finishing off on summer. Just a simple way to give ourselves some internal affirmations. So we had words like, you are kind, you are helpful, you are smart, you are motivated.
You deserve ice cream?
You deserve ice cream.
All right.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Would you like to stand as we bless our kids in song? And we invite you to hold our kiddos and our program in your prayers and bring all the kids in, will you? And before we affirm our prayer for protection and sing the peace song, I invite you to join me in offering the benefits of this service to the welfare and awakening of all beings, if you would, together. I offer the benefits of this service to the welfare and awakening of all beings. And the light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever I am, God is. I am divine. Let's sing.
Okay, Dr. Rick.